Now, there's another item on the agenda that was not discussed, 3 alternates to the zoning board that were going to be apparently appointed tonight, or at least that's what the agenda said, item number 2. Now, when it comes to wasting hours of time, this council would do itself and the public a favor by going back and viewing the ridiculous displays of farce that have been sold to us as an open appointments process for members of municipal boards. Again, I bring this up tonight because I don't want to be here when you're talking about the zoning board, because you're going to choose who you're going to choose, and you may know who that's going to be ahead of time, and I don't care to waste any more time here in front of you. Reports indicate well over 30 people have applied to be considered for the zoning board. Since Ms. Zimmer became mayor in July, these people, with one glaring exception I'll get to in a moment, have been told to appear at a council meeting to state their case to be appointed. Despite the many hours of discussion each time the council has been called, it has been, each time this council has been called, it has been painfully clear that the decisions were made by the 5-vote majority well before hours were wasted on an attempt on faux transparency. First, there was Tony Soares, of course, and there are those among his fragile allies known for saying it's better to have Mr. Soares, shall we say, expressing himself in a direction outside the tent than expressing himself towards the inside of his tent. So it's no surprise he was reappointed and later elevated to chairman. He also spends many waking moments blogging about people he doesn't like, which in Hoboken are quite a few. If you're watching, Mr. Soares, no, I did not list my condo for sale, despite what you've been telling people for months. And yes, my attorney is keeping track of your internet activities as they pertain to me and my family. So. Then there was James Abel, whose credentials begin and end with the $3,000 donation to Don Zimmer and his wife's $2,000 donation to Peter Cunningham. Oh, and he also works at the same bank as the council president. Later, the public followed the money after many people came up to speak about their own credentials when $3,600 contributor Phil Cohen got the nod. Now, I'm sure Phil will do the very best job he can and serve the public well. But it is clear he would not have been appointed by the Zimmer majority if not for his enthusiastic check writing following his initial support for Beth Mason. During this process, many people who wanted to earn your trust appeared at the microphone to state their credentials and their case for serving on this board. Many, but not all. The one who didn't have to show up to address this council at all was Nancy Pincus. Though others were here that night to appeal to you, Pincus was absent. In fact, she was at home participating in a live blog of the meeting. And it was clear from her comments she knew she would be appointed that night, public process be damned. Pincus, not a big financial contributor to the Zimmer campaign, instead part of the stealth negative campaign that was run. Why am I bringing this up? Well, because it was reported today that your choice for the zoning board has published the most vile, disgusting piece of scatological attack on citizens seeking election to the school board that I've ever seen. If you didn't know what lurks in the mind of Nancy Pincus before, I will present you with a copy of her latest work. Maureen and Sullivan and Real Results slate of candidates swimming in a punch bowl of graphic human excrement. If this is how you want your zoning board appointees to represent you in public, I don't think so. Do you condone this type of stomach-turning, scatological display as appropriate political activity? This kind of work is especially revolting for many reasons. I'm running out of time and I won't be able to get into them, but I think you need to think a little harder before deciding to appoint people simply because they're really good at doing photoshops on the internet. So I leave you with this, and I ask you to take a look at it and decide whether you've made a good choice.
Thank you, Lane. Give those.
Thank you.